Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months.
Yo to Bolt fam, it's the Director. Chargers fans, we got a very special show for you guys today. Yes, for the first time on the Director Chargers channel, we are here with Dan Wokenstein, the man who showed me around town, showed me SoFi Stadium. We went to see the Steelers game a couple of years ago, and since then we've been geeking out via text and phone. We had to get on the show as our first guest. How you doing, Dan? Thank you so much for joining us. Special event here today.
I am great, the Director. Welcome. This is amazing. I'm like geeking out right now. Can't believe I'm sitting here watching you with all of this stuff going on. We got Powder Blues, Justin Herbert to my left. I mean, this is box office stuff. The Director, thanks so much for having me on. I cannot wait for this topic that we're talking about today. This is amazing.
It's gonna be fun. We have something a game. We're gonna play a game today. And what the audience doesn't know is that there was about like 15-20 minutes of like fumbling around first show kind of efforts here, but we got everything squared away. We've got a game put together, and it's gonna revolve around hot takes for the upcoming season. I've put out a video about my hot takes. I'm sure Dan has done the same. Now it's time for us to clash in this first episode of Hot Takes Blitz, featuring first guest Dan Wokenstein. We're gonna explain the rules here in just a moment, but before we do, quick shout out to the sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. The season is officially here via preseason. I'm one of those crazy people that does like to throw down for the Bolts even in the preseason. It's a great opportunity to get your guys' feet wet, understand the platform, and join what I would say is the best fantasy platform on the web. If you guys want to get in on the action, use code DIRECTOR to match your first deposit up to $100. All right, Dan, let's get into this one. Before we do, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content and Dan's beautiful face. Every time you guys hit the like sub button, it helps this channel out dramatically. Thank you guys so much. Now I'm gonna actually let Mr. Dan here do the honors. Would you roll us in, please?
Lights, camera,
action. Your Chargers Hot Takes Blitz, episode 1 featuring Dan Wokenstein. We're going to be clashing today in our hot takes, but we're going to lay down the rules of the land here real quick for the Bolt fam, okay? Me and Dan have been talking about this, trying to figure out how it's going to work. I think we finally figured it out. This is basically going to be a game of, what is it called? 2 lies and a truth. You guys remember that game from high school? You give 2 scenarios that are fake and 1 scenario that's real. We're going to do a version of that today, where Dan and I have prepared 5 hot takes that we truly do believe are hot takes for the season, and then 5 fake takes that we're going to try and get through. We'll get through as many as we can in today's episode. Don't know which order they're in, but we're going to go ahead and give the other person an opportunity to guess whether or not it is a hot take or a fake take. You're going to go ahead and elaborate on why you think it is real or fake, and then I'm going to give you the answer and give you a little bit of elaboration on my end. So we're just going to jump into it. I think it's better explained when things are happening in front of the screen. So we're going to go ahead and start with one of my first takes.
Ooh, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about this one. I have no idea where this is going, so this is good.
I don't either. This is the seat of my pants first episode, Hot Takes Blitz, but I think it's going to be a good time. Here comes my first hot take or fake take for you, Mr. Dan. This one featuring, let's see, actually this one is yours first. Let's go ahead and put this one right here. This one featuring a Mr. Derwin James. All right. Is this a hot take or a fake take? I'm going to tell you right now that Derwin James is going to finish the season with over 4.5 interceptions and 4.5 sacks. Hot take or fake take?
I'm going hot take. I'm bullish on Derwin James. Am I right?
You got to elaborate a little bit, and then I'll let you know what the real answer is here.
So, I mean, Derwin James, if you think about what he brings to this team, obviously we know what he brings. But what you now have is so many other playmakers back healthy, able to go. You saw Derwin James off the edge in joint practice light up Derek Carr if it would have been real. I think you're going to see this. Bring in J.C. Jackson back. You're going to bring in better pass rush, which we're probably going to get into later, and unleashed Derwin James with Derek Ansley kind of letting him kind of go. 4.5 sacks, 4.5 interceptions. The interception one is the one that I'm curious about. That's the one that I don't know, but I'm going to stick with hot take. I'm sticking with hot take.
You are correct. It is a hot take. I do believe that Derwin James, with the combination, I think the biggest thing that works in his favor, for me at least this year, is going to be, hopefully, knock on wood, we're going to be doing this a lot this show, the health of a Joey Bosa and a Khalil Mack. I think the presence of that revamped pass rush is going to help Derwin James a lot in his given roles that aren't just at safety, but I'm going to expect to see a lot of him in the box. I'm going to see a lot of him at the X position, certainly in the slot. I think Derwin James, he's going to be put in plenty of positions to hit that number and hopefully put himself in the Defensive Player of the Year category. Last time we saw players like that, Troy Polamalu, I forget the other guy, ex-Charger, what was his name? Either way, the safety position, tough to get into Defensive Player of the Year, but I think Derwin James, with everything that he offers, should be a good candidate. So good take right there. Good take right there, Dan. Now it's your turn to come back at me with a take that could be real or fake, and I'll give you my answer here in a second. He did give me the subject here. I think I'm looking at a Mr. Spiller on this screen. Go ahead and hit me.
Yes. A hot take or fake take? Isaiah Spiller, regardless of who's going to be on this roster with him, Isaiah Spiller will rush for over 500 yards this season.
500 yards is so reasonable, too. Ah. Okay, me personally, I'm going to go ahead and say, fake take, okay? And this is why I'm going to say fake take. I think Josh Kelly is pretty cemented in as the Chargers RB2 at the moment. I think the 500-yard mark could be closer to what I'm thinking for him. However, I do think that in total yardage, I think Isaiah Spiller could get close, if not exceed that, with what I think the Chargers are going to use him more in the passing game. That's what I'm going to go with. Fake take. Hit me, Dan.
Nope, this is a hot take. I'm feeling bullish on Isaiah Spiller this year. Last year, remember, you saw a whopping 18 attempts for 41 yards for Isaiah Spiller. You didn't see anything from him. And last year, you look at the running back 2 spot, 287 yards by Josh McKelly. That was number 2 behind Austin Eckler's 915 yards. That is not going to happen this year with Kellen Moore running the ship. You saw Isaiah Spiller go for that 70-plus yard touchdown, called back on a nitpick holding, but it was gone anyways. This rushing offense is going to cook, and I think you're going to see Isaiah Spiller benefit the most out of this. Tailor-made for him. Obviously, Austin Eckler is going to do his thing.
Yes, sir.
But I say regardless, they're going to see 2,000-plus yards in total by this rushing offense, and I think 500 of it or more.
I would love to see
from
It's getting
Spiller.
hot in here, Dan. It's getting hot here.
Oh.
These hot takes getting hot in here, my friend. Okay, I like it. Isaiah Spiller, 500 yards. We're all believers. Let's go ahead and move into our next one here. So this one was me. Now we'll go back here to me. Okay, so next hot take or fake take coming in from the director. I'm going to tell you now that Josh Palmer will end the season with more yards than Quentin Johnston.
Oh, that is tough. With more yards than Quentin Johnston. Fake take. I think this is a fake take because I think that you're bullish on Quentin Johnston. I'm kind of going reverse psychology here. I think Quentin Johnston's going to break out. Maybe not in week 1, 2, 3, but give him like the first month. I think we'll see Quentin Johnston go balls to the wall. And it's not any slight to Josh Palmer because Josh Palmer's that dude. But I think Quentin Johnston's got the hype. I think he's real. I think he's going to surpass Josh Palmer by the end of the season. That's my take.
You are correct. It is a fake take. And honestly, I think it's one that could in the end happen. I think it's a bit more of a stretch, but you are right. I am very high on Quentin Johnston. And I do think his involvement with the offense from what we're seeing right now, as well as what we've heard from the coaching staff, how big he's going to be a part of this offense, I think that QJ will edge over Josh Palmer. But I do think Josh Palmer has a bright future with the team as we move into next season. We'll get more on that, and maybe even on another show. Okay, now time to hit me back here, Dan. Here comes the next topic. Coming at the director, I'm seeing Asante Samuel Jr.
Ooh, redemption season. So we saw Asante go crazy last year. 3 interceptions in the playoffs. We're talking playoffs on this one. The Chargers, with everyone healthy. Justin Herbert MVP form, possibly. First round bye in the playoffs.
Oh, Dan. You're playing with my emotions here. First round bye for the Chargers, which we all know what that means. All right, that means that we're going to have to go through the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Chargers, one big thing that I brought up in our little mega show with the Guilty as Charged podcast is that our schedule sucks this year, right? But so does the Chiefs. And I think if the Chargers can split with the Chiefs, there's a chance. There's always a chance. But I still have to go fake take here. I think the Chiefs, we need just that little nudge over the edge before, we're all feeling confident that we can overtake them for first in the AFC West. Fake.
You are correct. While I am typically the optimist on Chargers Unleashed, this might be a little too optimistic. And for many of the points that you gave, number one, until the Chiefs show otherwise, they are the class of the AFC and the class of the AFC West. Now, that does not mean I don't think that we'll beat the Chiefs 0 times. I think we're going to beat them once, and I think it's going to be in Arrowhead. But getting the number 1 seed in the AFC is it's one thing for the Chiefs to get it or the Bills to get it. The Chargers got to do a whole bunch of stuff to get up to that number 1 seed. So I think this is a fake take. Doesn't mean I don't think they'll be successful or in the playoffs, but the number 1 seed might be a bit too rich.
I too think that, the playoff hopes are very much so alive. First in the West, a little tough. We might be close, though. You never know. We might be close. All right, here comes the next take here, Dan. Next take on the Blitz. Who are we seeing here? We're seeing a Mr. Joey Bosa. My next take, whether hot or fake, up to you. Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack will combine for over 24 sacks this season.
That is spicy. We're talking like hot one, spicy hot takes here. Oh, man. 24?
24. I have 23 and a half written, and then I was like, maybe 24. Let's round up.
Oh, Joey Bosa was out most of last year. I think he had, 3 sacks, I want to say, last year. Khalil Mack held it down. Great against the run and the pass. 24 is a lot. I'm going to go fake. Only because I think there's only so much to go around. I think the defensive line is going to cook. But I think it's going to spread the wealth. 24 between the two of them is too hot.
Okay. All right. I'm going hot take on this one. I'm going to throw my flag down here. I was taking a look at some of the other teams in the league in terms of when they exploded with their pass rush, and a lot of the narratives actually follow what's going on with the Chargers right now. Teams bringing in superstars, or teams bringing in guys that maybe don't live up the first year or don't have both guys healthy. A great example, the Philadelphia Eagles last season bringing in Hasten Reddick. Sometimes that's the thing that you need to bring it in and bring it home for the big monstrous numbers. These numbers, to me, very much so monstrous. We've seen them surpassed in years past, but I think especially with the healthy rotation that the Chargers are going to be seeing with Tuli Tuipulotu, these other guys being healthy in coverage, if we can see a resurgence from J.C. Jackson, I'm a believer. I'll take over on the 23.5 or the 24, and I do think that Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, we're going to see that magical season that we all imagined when we first grabbed Khalil Mack via trade. I'm going to plant my flag on that one.
Oh, can we please bet like a nice Frosty on this one?
I like the Frosty. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, okay. I like that. Frosties, that definitely fits the channel theme here too. Okay, hit me with the next one here, Dan.
Ooh, okay, Kellen Moore coming in. You see Mike Williams, Josh Palmer, Keenan Allen. Doesn't necessarily have to be those three, but the director, you ready for this one? The Chargers are going to have a trio of 1,000-yard receivers in 2023.
Dang it. I'll be honest with you, dude. When I was writing down mine, this was on my paper at one point. This was on my paper. I'm not going to tell you what side it was for a second because I'm going to say it's a hot take. Because you know what? The Chargers, and you take a look at the Kellen Moore offense and Justin Herbert. If you believe in the Justin Herbert numbers at some point, whatever it may be, I'm sure a lot of Chargers are feeling like it's going to improve because of Kellen Moore. You have to believe that the top 3 targets are going to see significant love, right? And if you take a look at the Kellen Moore offense, the year that he was brought in for Dak Prescott, you did see significant boosts for all of the wide receivers, especially when CeeDee Lamb entered into the picture too. He was very, very close to 1,000 yards in his first season. So I'm gonna say hot take.
This is a fake take.
Okay. All right.
Now, listen to these names. You got Mike Williams, Josh Palmer, the Slayer. You've got now Quentin Johnston. Oh, by the way, you got Austin Eckler out of the backfield. You've got Donald Parham. Oh, yeah, you got Gerald Everett. Maybe you got Guyton. Maybe you got Hightower. Maybe you got Darius Davis. That's a ton of names.
That's true.
That's a ton of names. And I do think that Kellen Moore is going to spread the wealth, especially on offense with these receivers and weapons catching. I think you could see Justin Herbert go 5,000 plus yards, but there are so many weapons to go around that's going to be hard to go 3K with 3 guys when you have Quentin Johnston or Josh Palmer, whichever one, as the 4th one, plus all of those weapons. So fake take for me, but I think it's a good thing. If they can spread the wealth
around
and get like 800 yards for 3-4 guys, I mean, again, like, that's a lot of names. Gerald Everett, Josh Palmer, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Quentin Johnson. That's just 5, not including Donald Parham and not including Austin Eckler.
That's true. Justin Herbert's got a huge amount of weapons going into this season, which is, in the end, very good for Chargers fans and their hopes in the postseason. All right. I dig it. All right, next up, coming in from the director. Let's hope. Okay. Speaking of one of those weapons, we've got ourselves a chicken parma on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that Donald Parham, at some point this season, maybe even by season's end, overtakes Gerald Everett for the tight end 1 position.
Whew. All right, I'm going to go fake. I think this is fake. I think Gerald Everett has quietly had one of the better camps of most of the offense and is getting vastly overlooked. And I think it was David Drogemeyer talked about this on the crossover episode that we all did. He is going to eat the underbelly of defenses alive. I think Gerald Everett's going to feast this year, so I think this is fake.
Okay, you would be correct. It is a fake take. Gerald Everett. And you guys will know, watching my channel, I've always felt like, especially last season coming into this season, before we started getting into camp and stuff, I felt that Gerald Everett has been a pretty nice floor tight end, right? Like, he's going to come in, he's going to do the job. It's not going to be anything crazy, but it's going to help out this offense tremendously. Now we are hearing some different things out of camp, and we are seeing some different things out of camp, and we're seeing Justin Herbert look towards him in clutch situations a lot more. I do think we may see a very nice season from Gerald Everett, maybe one that considers, or the Chargers now consider, maybe adding a tiny extension, a little extension for Gerald Everett by season's end. So we'll have to wait and see.
What would be a nice season for Gerald Everett?
For me, I would like to see over 750 yards. That'd be crazy.
I like it.
Yeah, 750 yards. I like that. All right. Coming in from the director, from Dan to the director. We got a Justin Herbert sighting. All right.
All right, let's get to the good one here. You ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Justin Herbert will have the most touchdowns in the entire NFL.
Oh, dude. Because you see Kellen Moore, and the big thing that I looked at, Kellen Moore with Dak Prescott, the history there, how's that going to translate to the Chargers? It could be even better. I think I'm going to go fake take on this one, though, because I think Justin Herbert, in terms of the touchdowns and the way that this offense could be, forming as of right now, we might see a lot of those touchdown opportunities, unlike a Patrick Mahomes, go through the ground. The Chiefs are allergic to running the ball. I don't think the Chargers are going to be allergic to running the ball this year, and I think a good amount of those touchdowns may end up going to the running back position. So fake take.
Ooh, this is a hot take, baby. This is a hot take.
No way! Hit me with it. Tell me why. Convince me.
Last year, given all that we saw, we're talking injuries, rib cartilage stuff, Mike Keenan down. You saw play calling issues. The defense was kind of leaky. Offensive coordinator with Joe Lombardi. Maybe lack of speed and weapons outside that can stretch the field. With that, Justin Herbert had 8th most touchdowns at 25. 25. Now, you add all those guys. You get a healthy Justin Herbert. You bring in Kellen Moore. Add Quentin Johnson and Darius Davis. Oh, by the way, all-pro left tackle Rashawn Slater is back. Arguably the best offensive line he's ever had. Mike and Keenan are now healthy. The run game more effective, which I think will open up the passing game, open up play action for bombs down the field.
Yes, it will.
I'm crazy bullish on Justin Herbert in this. Go look at what Dak Prescott did last year. I think in 12 games. He was up there.
Yeah, he was. He was on pace for one of the most ridiculous seasons by a quarterback ever. You know,
Justin Herbert had the second most passing yards in the NFL last year. In that offense with that headwind.
He did. And that's where the big improvement needs to come is red zone scoring through the passing game. It could happen. It could happen. I mean, I would be super stoked on that. We're talking how many touchdowns did Patrick Mahomes get last season? It was in the 40s, right?
He had 40 or 41.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's doable. I like it. That's saucy.
We're speaking into existence.
I like
man.
that. Speak it into existence, please. All right, here comes the next one from Director. What do we got here? Mr. Tom Telesco. All right.
Ooh.
Next take. The Chargers will make one more notable signing before kickoff.
Oh, see, now you're playing with my emotions, Director. This is, oh, man. If this was a month ago, I would have been like, slam dunk, hot take, no questions asked. But the way that things have gone so far at camp and just overall in free agency, this might be a fake take. And the reason why, I think the main positions we thought could be had as like a major transaction, one to be safety. But then you saw Alohi Gilman just ball out so far. So that one feels like it's checked off. John Johnson no longer an option. Possibly defensive end, edge, but now you're seeing guys like Thule come in. Everyone's kind of talking about how much of a high praise he's got. So what other positions are there available? Like, I don't think they're going into your defensive line. I don't think they're going receiver. There's no tight ends available. Maybe linebacker, like Anthony Barr type. Bryce Callahan's still out there, but I'm gonna go fake take on this one.
You're correct. It is a fake take. I think if the Chargers were going to do it, they would have done it by now. And from what we're seeing, the way that the defense and the offense is rolling out there, it does feel like they kind of have the unit that they're ready to roll into the season with. Any signing, I think, at this point on would be an emergency signing, maybe in the season. So good. Dan, you're on fire with this one. First episode. I feel like we've been hitting a lot of walls here. Let's see if he can fool us again. Dan coming back with another take. We are looking at Khalil Mack. What do we got?
Last year, this Chargers team had 40 sacks. This season, 50 plus sacks as a defense for these Los Angeles Chargers.
I'm not even gonna think about it. I'm gonna say hot take.
Yes, let's go. You and me.
I can't think that Mack and Bosa are gonna go for 24 without thinking we're gonna get a ton of sacks this season. And I think this Chargers team, I think honestly by the season's end, right, the defense is gonna have an identity, which we haven't had in a while, right? It's just been kind of like the defense that keeps trying. Now I feel like the defense by season's end is going to be viewed maybe similarly to the Eagles in terms of like pressure. I think this team is going to be nasty when it comes to getting to the quarterback. So I'm going to say hot take on that one.
Okay, this is like the Thomas the Train episode where it's just like,
yes, it
keeps on pushing. And this Chargers train is going to be rolling. I agree with you. Last year they had 40. And look at this defensive roster now. And look at the aggressiveness that you've seen so far. Derek Ansley now heading the fort there. Thule, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Deion Henley. Look out for him rushing the quarterback. The interior defensive line has been secretly balling at camp and at the joint practice against the Saints. You've seen like arguably half dozen to a dozen sacks just from the interior guys by themselves. That's not counting Derwin off the edge or Asante Jazir Taylor off the edge. 50 plus, book it.
I love it. I'm 100 million% on there with you, Dan. I think this defense is going to scare so many quarterbacks this season. All right, here comes the next one from Director. We got a Mike Williams out there. So this take, Mike Williams in 2023 tallies 1,200 yards and 10 plus touchdowns.
Woo.
A career year for Mike Williams.
I was going to say, historically, it's one or the other. It's been 1,000 yards or 10 touchdowns. He hasn't gotten both of those, I don't think. I got to stay true to my spread the wealth, so I'm going to go with fake take.
I'm going with hot take on this guy. Take on this guy. I think that out of the receivers, the one that's going to stand out to us, funny enough, and it's kind of crazy to think because of my stance with Keenan Allen, with Quentin Johnston, with how much I think they're going to soak up targets. I think Mike Williams secretly fits the Kellen Moore mold, maybe the best out of a lot of these guys on the roster right now. And I think especially given like with what we're seeing with Quentin Johnston, we thought that he was going to be that, deep guy every single game. I think we're seeing him more involved in the intermediate game a little bit more. I feel like maybe Mike Williams could secretly get way more than we think in the deep game, adding to his yardage. And then, of course, you're going to see a lot more involvement from these big guys in the red zone. I have a secret feeling that Kellen Moore is honing in on how to fix that red zone efficiency. And I think Mike Williams is a big part of that. So I'm going to go hot take with this. I think he ends as the best Chargers wide receiver this season.
I love that. I love that for you, Mike.
We all do. He's going to be a steal in fantasy football, by the way. Go ahead and book that in. Next one coming in from Dan. We got Elijah Dotson, the preseason darling. Okay, hit me.
Ooh, boy. Elijah Dotson, darling so far, will make 53-man roster.
Because we know what this means. It means that somebody's going to get cut that we don't want to see get cut. I'm still gonna go hot take. I think if he can continue what he started with the first preseason game, you would be incredibly foolish to let this man go. But I think a lot does depend on whether he can carry that momentum from last week.
I have this as a fake take. And the reason for that is I just don't see the only way I see them doing this is if they keep 4 running backs, which means that they don't keep Xander Horvath. And I just don't see them doing that because Xander is so important to special teams.
He's a special team stud.
If Isaiah Spiller or Joshua Kelly weren't showing promise, I think I could see this. But it just seems like you'd have to overtake one of them in order to make the team, in my opinion. But yes, but the challenge with this team is regardless, when it comes down to 53-man roster day, we're going to be pissed. And there are going to be some tears shed because guys that we love are not going to be on this team, unfortunately. Brace yourself. Exactly. Brace yourself. Elijah Dotson might
that would be so crazy. There would be riots. We would have to put out some fires, Dan, that weekend. We would have to put out some fires. All right, next one. We're getting close to the end here, guys. Next one coming in. Director's got a J.C. Jackson on the screen.
I love the double 2-7, by the way. Look at the chain.
Oh, yeah.
Icy.
I'm going to tell you right now that J.C. Jackson bounces back to the tune of 8 interceptions. The second most in his career.
Mr. INT gets the crown back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 8?
8.
Oh, man. Now you're playing with my emotions again because, I would love to see that. I'm going to try to skirmish this. I'm going to say fake take, but fake take because I think J.C. Jackson is going to bounce back and is going to strike the fear of God into opposing quarterbacks. They're just not going to throw his direction towards the last half of the season.
I like that. I like that explanation because, yes, it is a fake take. However, I do think that JC does bounce back to the tune of over. I'm going to take the over on 4.5 this season. I think that's a pretty reasonable number, and I do think that we're going to see in terms of coverage it become more difficult for quarterbacks to look his way. So I like that. I like that a lot. Your compass is on tune here, Dan. You got things working real nice. Okay, let's move on to the next one from the Wolkenstein. We got a Jasir Taylor.
Jasir Taylor will be the slot starter on week 1.
The slot starter.
Slot
on week
star
1.
Money, whatever you want to call it.
I gotta go fake take on this one. I think honestly, there's a lot of reason to believe that he's going to be involved because, of course, I think the Chargers like his ability in defending the run. But I do think that the Chargers, in what they have in Asante Samuel and JC, these guys are both very good in the slot, and I can see them sharing a lot of time there. And of course, you got Derwin thrown into the mix too. I don't know if the star position has a defined guy there as so much as a good rotation of dudes. And I think Jasir will be part of that. But I think in the end, fake take.
Okay, so I'm going to throw a left curveball here.
Oh, man. Really?
I started this thing off as a fake take. And then up until right now, I was going to say fake take. But I'm switching to a hot take. I'm switching this one.
Oh, my God.
Now, this is not saying that Asante Samuel Jr. is not the starting corner slot guy. I'm not saying that. But you mentioned kind of the specific coverages and the specific opponents that they go up against. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill absolutely torch zone coverage, which is what Asante Samuel Jr. does best. Jazeer Taylor, man-to-man, does great against that. I do not want to see the Chargers going zone against these two receivers.
That's true.
So for that reason, and that reason only, not because Jazeer Taylor is better than Asante, but because the matchup requires it. Jazeer Taylor.
I can get behind that the matchup requires specific guys, and Jazeer could definitely fit that mold. That is hot. That is hot, Dan. That's very. You guys in the comment section, make sure that you're commenting on the hotness of the takes today. All right, a couple of more, and then we're gonna wrap up. Maybe we'll save some of these for the next time. Next up, coming in, we've got Darius Davis on the screen. Okay, I'll tell you now that Darius Davis, by the end of the season, is going to overtake wide receiver 4 from Josh Palmer.
Okay, now we're just getting into like Inferno. Fake.
It's fake. We'll make this one quick. I think Darius Davis, again, like in the future, that I think with Josh Palmer, there's going to be a very defined role for Palmer in the future. I think Davis is going to grow into more than a special teams guy. I have a very, very high faith in that. But I think for this season in particular, he'll be sprinkled in where he fits. And I don't think that's going to overtake Josh Palmer at all.
Okay,
all right.
I think we're on rush defense. I think that's where we're going to next.
Oh, we got next up here is that Josh Kelly.
Ooh, Joshua Kelly, rush defense. I don't think I have Josh Kelly. Is it Hugh?
I think this was you. We can actually move on to the next one from you. Let's see. Here we go. Dan Henley.
This works. Okay. Deion Henley will be the starter on this defense week 5.
I gotta say hot take, like immediately hot take, because this is something that I've been predicting on my channel too. Like, I think in terms of what the Chargers are looking for from the inside linebacker position, I think I like a lot from what I see in K9. I think he offers a lot in different situations, but I think this team wants more coverage out of these guys. And I think Henley offers more of that immediately, because we know that K9 has had some struggles in the past couple of years in coverage. But I do think that, starter, maybe like what we were talking, inside linebacker 2 next to
Eric Kendricks.
Eric Kendricks, yeah. I think that Henley could, by mid-season, maybe even a little bit sooner, overtake the workload from K9 a little bit. And I do think that could vault him into a starter.
I have this as a fake take. And not because of Deion Henley, but because going into this training camp, I think everyone was thinking like, oh yeah, like this is Henley's job to lose, that he's going to make this happen. But then Kenneth Murray comes out of left field and is balling. And this isn't like an hyperbole.
He does look good. He look good.
He looks very good. I was out there at joint practice day 2, and Kenneth Murray's lifting up literally truck stick and running backs. And you're seeing praise from all over the place from many of his teammates. In years past, I would have said this. I know everyone's saying, like, don't let yourself get fooled. I think I've already passed that. I'm already fooled. And I think the combination of he and Eric Kendricks, I think him finally being healthy, I think Kenneth Murray is going to be a stud this year. But so will Deion Henley.
Okay,
Dan Henley will force himself onto this field because the kid's a star. The kid's great in coverage, sure tackler, and the Chargers will have to find a way to get him on the field.
I like that. So for you guys keeping track at home, I don't know. I haven't been keeping score. I think Dan smashed this first episode of Hot Take Blitz. I think it's going to be a crazy season. I think we got some pretty good hot takes out there into the universe. Come back and watch this episode at the conclusion of the season. See who, maybe hit on more of these. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But in the end, thank you so much, Dan, for joining us. First episode. Tell the good people where they can find you.
Thank you again for having me. Seriously, this was so much fun. You can find me at Dan W Sports on X or Twitter, whatever it's going to be called tomorrow. Who knows? You can also find us at LAC_Unleashed. On YouTube, anywhere you find your podcast. But otherwise, Director, this has been so much fun. I appreciate you having me on. Well done, my friend. This was, I felt a little sweaty here at times. I wasn't sure where to go with these takes, but
Again, if you guys are keeping track at home, please put the score in the description. We'll go ahead and pin that. Or in the comment section. We'll pin that. See what happened. I think Director fell on his face a couple times, but it was good. That means we had some quality questions. Definitely not bad. Well, again, thank you so much, Dan. Thank you, everybody. Hit us up with a like and sub on your way out if you guys did enjoy this content. Make sure to go ahead and check out Dan's channel. I'm going to leave the link to his stuff in the description as well. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, bolt up. And what do we say here, Dan?
Stay frosty.
Stay frosty, my friends. Let's go.